So parenting an ADHD teen, there's some things that I think are important to run through with that. First of all, part of it is knowing in adolescence, the symptoms that you tend to see more often are hyperactivity. You'll get reports about it from the parents, you'll get reports about it from the teachers, in later years that hyperactive piece can become an inattentive piece. And you'll notice more and more things like kids forgetting different things, homework assignments, their school bag, a lot of different stuff like that. Things such as poor school performance, it absolutely starts to build in those different years. And so that's something it's not a bad thing. It's just understanding that as those expectations of performance increase in high school and in later years, that's something that's going to be more of a focus and more front and center for people. So it's a process. And to me, as a therapist, I think it's very important to allow those people to learn from that struggle. Learning from that struggle, it allows them to be able to find out how they learn, for example. If kids have all of the structure that's just implemented externally and they never figure out that themselves, then that's something that's going to be a major deficit for them later. So it doesn't mean to remove those different supportive mechanisms, but it means to work with them in figuring out how they learn, because everybody is different. And there are a number of tremendously successful people with ADHD, and you see them in people that have had some childhood struggles, like the CEO of JetBlue, for one. Richard Branson is another person that came forward with his ADHD. Justin Timberlake is somebody that uses all of that energy absolutely on camera as he goes and has concerts and has to put so much forth towards that. Some of the more pronounced symptoms within an ADHD tend to be kind of the difficulty with prioritization of different stimulus. You'll certainly find that with video games with kids. They have a really hard time pulling outside of that. Teens with ADHD, they have a hard time with consequences for their actions. They are not going to think things through as to, not studying for a test or working on a paper till too late, the consequences of that. So that's something to know, that's part of how their brain works, is that they're not able to foresee that and plan accordingly. Those with ADHD also may have less of a tolerance for frustration. So that's something to know as a parent, that these kids, when they don't progress in the way that you would like, and they get frustrated, it may become a little bit explosive. So be aware that you don't want to be their stimulant within that. If they get upset, it's a process of knowing that they're highly sensitive and maybe not on the same exact developmental plane as their same age peers. So that's something that's important to remember within that. And throughout all of this, unconditional positive regard is imperative. Kids with ADHD and good support definitely have huge, outcomes that are so much more positive than the ones that don't. They can become coaches, they can become trainers, they can become salespeople, entrepreneurs, chefs, CEOs, and athletes.